I'm going to ask that we stand for invocation and pledge. And it's my honor to introduce the Reverend James Brooks, pastor at First Christian Church, North Potomac Street, to give the invocation this morning. Pastor Brooks.
Thank you. Let us bow. Gracious God, we are thankful for the opportunity to gather here today. We're thankful for the opportunity to live within Washington County and enjoy all that it provides. We pray today, as we are mindful of the natural disasters out west, that you will look after the first responders of our county. We are thankful for their service and ask for their safety. We pray your blessing upon our commissioners this morning. May the deliberations be wise and prudent for all of us here in Washington County. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That I'll officially call our January 14th, 2025 meeting to order. And the first order of business is to approve the minutes of, we'll do them one at a time. The meeting of November 20th, 2024. I understand there was 3 present for that meeting.
Is that the one I'm present for?
Yes, you, Randy, and Derek.
Motion to approve that date.
The November 20th.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Right, 3-0. Okay, the next one is, I think all 5 were in attendance, the minutes for December 10th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, 5-0. Okay, thank you. And Commissioner Wagner's looking at me.
I wasn't, but I will.
If you want to go first this morning.
That's fine, yeah. Good morning. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a very nice Christmas holidays, New Year's. The police wanted to congratulate the cadets who graduated from the police academy last week and thank the training center and the staff for everything they did to get those graduates through. They were from all over the area. I think we had 9 or so in Washington County, and they had some Frostburg, and HCC had one, I think, on the campus, Boonesboro. Didn't want to miss anybody, but they were sort of spread out to some of the graduates. Wanted to thank the county employees, Rose Department, and all the county employees had to work during the storm. Thank you for being there when, you know, everybody else was off. So I appreciate all that, and all the staff that had to work those days. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Kiefer, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you. I'll echo some of the comments Commissioner Wagner said. Thanks to the snowplow crews, I had an opportunity to work from home that day, and our roads department didn't. So thanks for making the roads safe for us. A big thanks to our emergency services workers, water and sewer. Those employees had to work over the holidays as well. That's so important. I know many of us filmed our State of the County presentation this morning, and during COVID, we were not presenting the State of the County publicly to groups, and then after COVID ended, we brought the State of the County back to the Chamber of Commerce Forum, which is upcoming, I know, and that'll be a nice event, but that is a paid event where the public can't really attend for free, and I would like us to bring back our evening State of the County presentations. We had been holding those at Hagerstown Community College, but that's a fine location, or our Public Safety Training Center, where many of us met last night for the Planning Commission meeting. Might be a nice venue as well, but I just think it's important the State of the County get some more feedback and engagement with our citizens maybe. Having a free event like we used to pre-COVID, I think, is important. Citizens shouldn't have to pay to attend an event like that, and we should host a free event, my opinion. And that's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey?
I agree with everything I've heard from Randy and Wayne, and appreciate all the hard work, and I'm looking forward to a very productive year and working with our staff and working through the budget and the challenges that we want to overcome this year and find consensus or unanimity about the way to go forward. So looking forward to working on all the issues this year. Thank you.
Commissioner Klein?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's good to be back. First, I want to thank all those who were responsible for arranging the comp plan presentation last night at the training center. I also want to thank our police academy graduation class. I think we did have 9 deputies, and to the training center and the class down at the training center, they do an excellent job. Last night, I also attended the Funkstown Volunteer Company swearing in of their officers at their meeting. A group of hardworking, dedicated people who are out fundraising and keeping us safe. I also want to thank all of our employees for the past year's work and what they're about to do. And I also want to thank the Highways Department. I've received many compliments on the snow removal. It's always difficult to accommodate, make everybody happy, but I've received several reports. I want them to know that they're appreciated. Also, I attended the Humane Society Polar Bear Plunge Saturday. Despite the cold and the ice on the lake, it was well attended, and thank you to the Humane Society for all the work that they do in the community. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. It's good to be back. I also echo the comments here this morning of my fellow commissioners. A few other things I'd like to add. Again, Pastor Brooks, thank you for being here, and we look forward to many other of the local council of churches participating in our meetings. I too would like to thank emergency services, roads, and for all those that worked extra hours and put in over the holidays that may have expected to have a little more time off with family and friends, and of course duty calls. And that's what local government is all about, when those that answer the call that's placed upon them and they show up for work and do their very best. So again, congratulations from the entire Board of County Commissioners. Number of things over the holidays. We were quite busy, even though we may not have been in session. One of the highlights for me was back a couple days before Christmas, our local PIA, Pittsburgh Institute of Avionics, held a graduation class. They had 29 students graduate with honors. I think I can honestly say that all 29 of them have either jobs or promises of jobs from their schooling there. So I guess the only unfortunate things, not all of them are local jobs, but these graduates are highly sought after in the aviation industry, and very rewarding field, and much need demand with career in technology and the need for aerospace and avionics. So congratulations to all the folks there at Pittsburgh Institute. It's a jewel at our local airport, and their classes are filling up, and their success rate is phenomenal. Not to get political, but our thoughts and prayers do go out to those in California with the most recent fires. But in the last couple of days, watching and just thinking, praying, and some of the issues there in California, when we hear stories of their reservoirs were empty, the water pressure's not there. I apologize, but I couldn't help but think of our own situation here locally. And I think it behooves us as county commissioners and city council and the other 8 municipalities that moving forward, particularly with the new year, that we work together, we collaborate. Don't ever let this community look at us and say, why is the reservoir empty? Why is there not proper water pressure? And we do our very best to curb any of those potential situations. And I think those that know where I'm coming from can relate to some of my concerns. We do have a number of things forthcoming. Next week's a very big week. It is Washington County Day in Annapolis. Many folks, both business, private, public sector, Greater Hagerstown, the Chamber, Leadership Washington County will be in Annapolis next Wednesday all day, and it'll be extremely important and concluded with a showcase of Washington County reception on Wednesday evening. So it's a full day in Annapolis, and I look for everyone's hard work and participation in that. Upcoming events, January Bash, USMH Hospitality Center right down the street is this Thursday, the 16th at 5 p.m. A number of upcoming voluntary fire company annual banquets. Clear Spring is this Saturday, the 18th. Home Builders Association meeting mixer is at J&D Kitchens next Thursday, the 23rd. The 195th anniversary banquet for First Hose Company of Boonesboro is being held on the 25th. Morgansville Fire Company banquet is held at the American Legion in Hagerstown on Saturday, the 25th also. Many of these are concurrent. The MML monthly dinner meeting is at Boonesboro American Legion on Monday, January 27th. And finally, the evening, our annual meeting with Morgansville, Ruritan, even though they're not a chartered municipal government, we started a practice probably 10 or 12 years ago where we've included the community of Morgansville with one of our joint meetings, and that is to be held on at our next regular scheduled day of Tuesday, January the 28th at 6 p.m. So we always look forward to meeting with the folks, and surprisingly, it's one of the best turnouts when we attend. So hats off to the concerned citizens of the Morgansville area. With that, we'll move into staff comments, and first up, I'm honored to call Greg Cartrett to come forward. We got a very special presentation.
Good morning, Commissioners. This morning it's a great honor. I would like to introduce Miss Tasha Shiflett. She is the permit tech in our division. She was awarded by the MBOA, the Maryland Building Officials Association, back in December. She was awarded the Permit Tech of the Year for the state of Maryland. And I would like to present Miss Tasha Shiflett.
The Board of County Commissioners of Washington County would like to recognize Tasha Shiflett for being named Permit Technician of the Year for the state of Maryland. That's impressive. We thank you for your service and dedication to the citizens of Washington County. Congratulations, Tasha, on this well-deserved honor. Thank you. Thank you. That picture of you holding that.
One, two, three. One, two, three. Perfect. Sure. Thank you. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Next up, yeah, back here you are. Next up, Jonathan Horwitz, new feature on website. Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning, Commissioners. Jonathan Horowitz, Director of the Department of Business and Economic Development. I am here this morning to share with you a significant advancement that the department is deploying on the county website. Basically here to inform the public and the commercial and industrial real estate and site selector community as well with this effort. Over the past 5 years, the method for businesses to explore and select new communities to locate or expand their business operations has migrated online to a mostly digital process. DBED has recognized these changes nationally and has undertaken several new projects to bolster our online presence to the business, site selector, and broker community. Today, I want to highlight our first effort, and that is becoming the centralized property listing site for all of Washington County. The first thing a business would look for in our community is obviously a place for their operation, whether that's vacant land or an existing building. Unfortunately, available properties could be listed on any number of various real estate websites, and given our local private property ownership being significantly across several families, they have their own websites. So if you're in southern Utah and you're looking at Washington County to move your business to, and you don't know who some of the local developers are, you wouldn't really know whose website to look at. So you would probably look at the national website, which is CoStar and LoopNet, but nobody really uses them anymore because they became very expensive through COVID. So this effort will basically centralize all of the property listings for Washington County that you can see on the screen. And basically what it does, it actually shows you a picture of the property, it gives you a map, it gives you a way to filter and select which properties you're looking at. So it's a much more usable feature, and thanks to the PR department for integrating that into the website. This is a contract that we're entering to with a company called Resimplify that'll basically gather property listings from over 50 local websites. So all of those websites, all that information that's updated every day, 24/7 around the clock, will always be up to date on the Washington County website. So this is going to, we hope, become the primary resource for anybody looking for any type of property or building in Washington County. Basically, at this point, we would like to just inform the public and the real estate about this operation. This will go live on Thursday, so this is just a draft form you're looking at here. But we encourage anyone in the local community that would have properties for sale or for lease to reach out to our department to ensure that you're represented on this system as we continue to push this out across the country. And of course, while I'm here today, I'd be remiss if I didn't plug Groundhog Day one last time. So Kelsey has some marketing materials here for you, which I'll go ahead and put on my head as well. So I'd be remiss if I didn't plug our upcoming agriculture celebration event, Groundhog Day. Please join our department at the Washington County Agriculture Education Center on Sharpsburg Pike, Friday, January 31st from 5 to 9 p.m. We have 22 vendors this year who will be providing samples of their products to all attendees. We have live music, and new for this year, this is a kid-friendly event. So now we have a kids corner, we have some crafts, and we have some educational opportunities for the children. And this year we have 6 adult beverage vendors, we'll have 2 food trucks, and 16 other various producers of products that are all available for purchase at the event as well. So please come celebrate Washington County's amazing agriculture industry. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, County Administrator Michelle Gordon.
Thank you. Over the last few weeks, I have attended several employee Christmas luncheons in various departments. I also completed employee evaluations for all of our directors. I'd also like to extend a huge thank you to our Highways Department for their hard work during the winter storm events. I'd also like to thank our public safety employees, emergency services, and our sheriff's office for the excellent work that they did ensuring that the public was safe, clearing roads, and making sure that everybody's needs were met. During that time, we also had a couple of issues with either water or sewer breaks of some sort. So I'd also like to extend a thank you to our Water Quality Department for responding on off hours over the holidays. I did attend the public hearing last night for the Comp Plan 2040, and I'd like to thank our planning department, our planning commission, and our staff for coordinating this important meeting. I will bring back in the beginning of February to the board, early February, discussions on the opioid restitution funds, cannabis tax revenue, and our community reinvestment and repair funds. I'm meeting with staff over the next couple of weeks, and I do plan to have that back to the board in February with some recommendations and to get some feedback and input from you. Also wanted to talk about the recent release of reassessment notices, triennial reassessment notices from Maryland State Department of Assessment and Taxation. Many of our residents received triennial notice of assessment from the Maryland State Department of Assessment and Taxation. Last year, my reassessment notice increased about 45%. I just want to remind residents that in Maryland, for owner-occupied properties, your increased assessment is phased in over a 3-year period for your principal residence, and the bottom of your notice should show those phased-in figures. For residents whose property is their principal residence, the state of Maryland also phases in that new assessed value at no more than 10% per year for your state tax portion. And in 2007, Washington County and municipalities lowered the phased-in percentage for the local portion of your tax bill to no more than 5% per year. Your property must be designated with the homestead property tax credit. So I just want to give you an example of how that works. So for example, if on your tax bill, if your home was previously assessed at $200,000 and you received the same increase that I did of $245,000, your tax bill wouldn't immediately go to $290,000. The first year, your county assessment would increase to $210,000, and your state assessment would increase to $220,000. So your total tax would increase for your county and state portion from about $2,080 to $2,195, or about $115, which is only a 5.54% increase, not a full 45% increase. And I just want to remind residents that the current rates are 92.8 cents per $100 of assessed value for county portion of taxes, and for the state portion it is 11.2 cents per $100 of assessed value. Your assessment notice should also indicate if you are currently approved for the homestead property tax credit. If you are eligible but did not receive the homestead credit, please contact the Maryland State Department of Assessments and Taxation at 301-791-3050 or visit their website at www.dat.state.md.us. Additionally, their office is located in the square of downtown Hagerstown. The state also offers several other types of property tax credits that are available to homeowners, and those are often based on age requirements or certain income qualifications. And officials at SDAT will be able to assist you with any questions you may have regarding eligibility of any of those other types of property tax credits. And that's everything that I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is citizens' participation. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment about an issue or issues of county practices and interests. This is not an interactive dialogue or question and answer session. It is solely a time to hear citizens' comments. And once again, we ask that you please limit your remarks to 3 minutes or less. So with that, I'll ask first row. Yes, sir, you want to come up to the microphone? If you'll give us your name and address for the record.
Can I talk like this?
Sure.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Miller. I live at 11265 Suffolk Drive in Hagerstown. Rather timely with the presentation the county administrator made on the notice of assessments. That's why I'm here. I received mine recently for the tax year beginning July 1 of 2025 for my property. Now, as you know, we all know this does originate from the state, but I received mine from the Washington County Assessment Office, and that's where the appeal would go. It's based on a 3-year plan, and over the 3 years, mine would increase 55%. Based on the assessment phase-in values in past years, that level of increase is inordinately high. My market value assessment for 2019 to 2021 remained constant, zero change over that 3-year period. From 22 to 24, it phased in over 3 years, increased by 11%. What analytics were used to assess at market value of my residence to jump 55% from 2025 through 2027? The Washington County Commissioners can take credit for stabilizing property tax rates over the past several years. But your actions are being compromised by these these market value assessment raises. I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing from the county, we'll remain mindful of minimizing the financial burden of your property taxes. On the other hand, but we will more discreetly raise your taxes through a rapid jump in the assessment of your property's market value. In my case, by 2027, based on that assessment, my property taxes would jump from where it is now in 2027 to $1,800 a year, an increase. Now, I'm not naive to believe that property taxes aren't going to increase over time, but I do expect a gradual increase in future years, consistent with the phase-in market value assessment that we've had during the current 3-year period. I was pleased to hear the county administrator's comments, and I do think that those mitigating statements about what we've received so far from the Washington County office should be provided, I think, to all of the residents so that they can understand why there was no need for me to come in apparently and say, look, you're not going to raise my taxes nearly $2,000 in 2027? That's high. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you.
Anyone else? First row? Second row? Third row? Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Jeannie Asbury, and I'm the Executive Director at REACH at 140 West Franklin Street. And I'm actually here as the chair of our local homeless coalition. I know when we were here last month, some of you were missing, and with the exciting updates that Ms. Gordon was sharing, we just want to present so you're all on the tip with us. So as you know, the local homeless coalition currently has 193 members, which includes agencies such as DSS, Potomac Community Services, the Mental Health Authority, the Washington County Health Department, Meritus, and many nonprofits that all work together to collaboratively serve the community. We are coming to you as we stand at a critical juncture. Homelessness in our county has escalated by over 340% since 2021. However, when we focus on Washington County school-age children, it's even more dire. There's more than 600 homeless school-age children in Washington County. Now, we don't have the January figures yet, but I assure you that went up. They are currently without stable homes across the county, living in tents, campsites, garages, sleeping in cars, or self-paying hotels that would be way more than rent. They are trapped in cycles of eviction, despite holding stable jobs. This is not a statistic, this is a humanitarian crisis affecting the heart of our community, the future of our community. But there's hope. The Hope for Home program is an innovative response to this humanitarian crisis. It is a comprehensive initiative designed to provide stable housing and support for families that are not eligible for available funding. Focusing on long-term solutions and community integration by securing housing solutions throughout the county with 12-month leases, offering tailored wraparound services, and fostering partnerships with schools and healthcare providers, we will create a nurturing environment where families can flourish. The Hope for Home program has 5 goals. One is to reduce childhood homelessness in Washington County. 2, to create stable housing opportunities for working families with an eviction history. 3, create accountability and stabilization. 4, provide 12-month wraparound services to solidify self-sufficiency. And 5, create improved lives and upward social mobility for adults and improved school outcomes for children. I just want to say, since I have 20 seconds, we were very touched and honored by you sharing your lived experience. So we appreciate that. And I know for some of us, going into the military was a way to change our life, and some families don't have that ability.
I'm Dr. Mark Sewell, the Continuum of Care Lead for the county. I'd like to just continue the presentation that Jeannie just told you about. Our Hope for Home program is going to provide comprehensive family support. It's going to be required for participation. We're going to ensure case management to ensure that the families can navigate the housing challenges. We're going to provide financial literacy so that they can plan for the future financial stability. We're going to provide tenant rights education so that families can avoid future evictions. We're also going to ensure that child-centered support is going to be provided to all the students, whether that's tutoring, after-school programs, whatever that is particularly necessary for those students at the time. This is more than just housing. This is hope for their future. This is going to improve educational outcomes. It will stabilize families, and it will reduce childhood homelessness. How's this going to be funded? We talked about, and I appreciate the comments from the county administrator, the Cannabis Reform Act of 2023. The state of Maryland encourages 3 areas of use for this funding. One of those areas currently has no dedicated funding from the county, and that is homelessness solutions. The Hope for Home program is just that program. And we are requesting $300,000 annually to be used from the Community Reinvestment and Repair Fund that's been established by the Office of Social Equity. This is going to make a profound impact to families and children throughout the county. It's going to give a place to call home for our families right now that are facing challenges with housing. December 17th, the Commissioner requested information. We'd like to present that now. We are presenting a research article that talks about the high cost of eviction and how it's a struggling social problem. It advocates for a comprehensive framework to support families with eviction records and wraparound services, so the data is going to be there. The second article is eviction and household health and hardships in families with very young children. This is a significant public concern. The article will address that. It will address the systematic inequalities to affordable housing and racial discrimination. The last piece of information is the comparison between the Hope for Home program and the existing Continuum of Care program currently in Washington County, which we have the executive director with us today that's going to present more clarity to those data points. I appreciate your attentiveness, and I'm looking forward to collaborating to create this pathway to success for our families currently in Washington County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Carrie Johnson, Executive Director of the Washington County Mental Health Authority, which is at 1800 Jewel Highway. As Mark mentioned, I'm here to provide some information on a comparative program that has already been in existence for over 20 years and operating through our office. And that is the Continuum of Care Rental Assistance Program, formerly known as Shelter Plus. The purpose of our program is to provide permanent housing and supportive services to primary target populations that are experiencing homelessness as defined by HUD, but also have a serious mental illness and a criminal background, which is one hurdle to obtaining traditional HUD programs. The main goal of our program is to assist participants to obtain and remain in permanent housing. Facts about the Continuum of Care program. There are currently 19 households in our program. These households contain a total of 28 people. 6 of the COC participants currently have children. 1 of the 19 households currently is participating in the COC program for more than half have been housed in the program for over 5 years. The breakdown is as follows. 1 household has been in the program less than 1 year. 5 households have been in 1 to 5 years. 7 households have been in 6 to 10 years. 2 households, 11 to 15 years, and 4 households have been in the program for 20-plus years. The reasons for success of that program is that participants have semi-monthly case management, and both the case manager and the program director maintain direct communication with the participant's landlord. As far as similarities and differences between the 2 programs, similarities are that it would require previous homelessness status, it would require case management, landlord interaction, longevity, and support. The differences would be that our program requires a mental health diagnosis. This one would not. It is a state-funded grant through our office, and a portion or all of the rent is paid by our grant. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you. Okay, row 2, row 3, row 4.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your service. I hadn't planned on speaking, but I did feel inspired to follow up on the last suggestion. The proposal for the, Stephanie Phillips, City of Hagerstown Limits. The proposal for the FBI relocation building being a joint 2-building proposal from Washington County and Berkeley County, West Virginia. If it hasn't been submitted already, or you can add an addendum, please suggest we understand priority 1 is we recognize this transfer of records is historically unprecedented. Nothing will get lost, damaged, or misfiled. In addition, both counties have preserved agriculture farmland per acre versus population ratio, which is worth modeling. Take an inventory of all vacant commercial and residential real estate and suggest a moratorium could be temporarily placed on new residential neighborhoods. Expansion shouldn't be necessary for the foreseeable future when we itemize all that's already vacant and usable. This means not a lot of new people coming into the region. Adding more security. Adding park ranger training centers, a multi-purpose extraordinary aquatic facility teaching beginning swimming up to and including Coast Guard training. That'll be in Berkeley. We do suggest you add a pool for HCC and at the YMCA. And by rebranding as a Wounded Warrior College town, and we will be uniquely prepared to staff and deploy in a regional emergency. Lastly, regarding my grandmother, I'm told, and great-grandmother started the preservation of the national park land. We could possibly tap pressurized water source from the Smithsburg Ridge and borrow electric from from Frederick. Not needed the Potomac River resources, not needing them at all, while we send the international amphibious team, which was preparing back in the late 80s. They are not political, they are non-denominational, they are truly going to be international ambassadors that are trained in hydroengineering to build supplemental smaller dams in between the larger dams, helping our neighbors up in Pennsylvania, and then going back and deciding how much is salvageable. Those larger dams in place could maybe continue to remain at a half capacity, plumbing all 5 or 6 together so that in the future they can be maintenance and shut down individually one at a time. Frederick might have already tapped into that water, and I'm not sure they had permission to do that, but they should certainly then be very motivated to offer us electricity. Now we would have everything we need to move forward and help our northern neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Row 3 and 4.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mark Kopp, K-O-P-P. I I live at 18042 Knoll Drive in Fairplay, Maryland, and also a member of Local 1605 for the professional firefighters within Washington County. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I am here on behalf of our dedicated career fire and EMS personnel who work tirelessly to ensure the safety and well-being of our citizens of Washington County. First, I want to thank and express our appreciation for your past support. Thanks to your efforts, we have made great strides forward in strengthening public safety in our county. Your commitment has not gone unnoticed, and it has made a real difference. However, we must acknowledge that there are still significant hurdles to overcome. We've recently heard discussions about a potential cut to property taxes. While we understand the desire to reduce financial burdens for our residents, we urge you to pause any decisions on tax reductions until the Director of Emergency Services had the opportunity to fully evaluate and present the critical needs and requests of our emergency service employees, as well as those of our local volunteer fire and EMS partners. Our agency is facing substantial challenges. Currently, we're experiencing an alarming attrition rate of nearly 1/3. This is not sustainable. Beyond the immediate impact on staffing levels, this attrition represents a significant financial loss for the county. Washington County invests substantial resources into training these employees, only to see them leave for better opportunities elsewhere due to inadequate compensation and support. Retaining our personnel is not just a matter of public safety, it is a matter of fiscal responsibility. I also want to highlight a critical consideration when evaluating salaries of our fire and EMS personnel. Unlike other county employees who typically work a 40-hour work week, our teams work 48 hours per week or more, 20% more than a standard schedule. When considering pay, I encourage you to focus on the per hour rate and ask yourself, what is enough compensation for someone who is willing to put their life on the line every day to protect our community? We must continue to prioritize public safety and the professionals who provide it. If we proceed without adequate investments, we risk falling further behind. Let's aim to be leaders, not 15 to 20 years behind other counties that have already made these critical investments. Our citizens deserve a system that is robust, responsive, and well-equipped to meet current and future challenges. Your continued leadership and support are crucial as we work together to ensure that public safety remains a cornerstone of our county's priorities. Let's build on the progress we have made and address the hurdles that still lie ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Last call, row 3 and 4.
The Washington County Board of County Commissioners approved a 50% pay raise for that Horowitz guy you heard from at the beginning of this meeting. He made a little slideshow, wore funny-looking socks, dressed up in a suit. You're paying him $148,000 a year. My son has to drive almost 2 hours to and from work to get a decent wage as a professional firefighter. It is disgraceful that the Washington County Board of County Commissioners does not pay blue-collar workers based on the work that they do or the type of compensation that they deserve. They're taking less money by working for the government here in Washington County, but you reward people that sit in this room or hang out with you in social settings more than you reward the people who actually get shot at, set on fire, or fix your roads. It's despicable how the Washington County Board of County Commissioners, led by John Barr, Kid Killer Jeff Klein, and Randy Little Wiener Wagner, prioritize white-collar douchebags in suits over people who actually work for a fucking living. It's disgraceful that you are having problems to where people feel the need to come forward and stand up for their departments because their people are leaving to go to work in Frederick County. And Frederick County doesn't even pay that good. I mean, Frederick County loses people to Montgomery County. Montgomery County loses people to Metro Washington, D.C., Metro PD. It's disgraceful what you're doing to blue-collar people, John. You only pay the people who hang out with you what they are worth. And in the case of Horowitz, you took him from $100,000 to $148,000, a 50% pay increase. I was sitting in this room when you voted to do that, John Barr, Kid Killer Klein. It's ridiculous. These people who actually do things for citizens in the community and interact with people in the community, fire departments, EMS, the cops, even though they pull me over a lot, they are the ones that need the compensation increases, not someone that sits in here and makes slideshows about how to attract businesses to Washington County. That's why you kept Horowitz. That's why you gave him a 50% pay increase. $148,000 a year to jerk off businesses to come to Washington County while people are getting shot at for a starting salary of $56,000 a year, and firefighters, I think, are a bit worse. It's despicable that you prioritize white-collar douchebags with fake PhDs they got at DeVry University online, and you pay them $148,000 a freaking year in Washington County, literally to work 9 to 5 jobs, take every single holiday there is, do absolutely nothing productive other than tell businesses to come to Washington County. Washington County sells itself, in my opinion. I'm in Washington County. It sold itself to me. Why the fuck do we need to pay Horowitz $148,000 and you pay people that could get hit by cars in construction sites and work on the roads next to nothing? You pay people that get set on fire next to nothing. You pay people that get shot at next to fucking nothing. But you prioritize white-collar fucking douchebags. It's disgraceful, John. By the way, that bow tie makes you look like a fucking faggot.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Anyone else this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners. Casey McKnight, 18219 Chapwood Court. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm here as a representative of the dedicated men and women who serve this community through the Division of Emergency Services. We understand that concerns have been raised about some aspects of our work, and I want to address these directly while providing a better understanding of what we do and why it's so essential. One of the concerns mentioned is the false perception that firefighters and EMS personnel are sleeping on the job. I just want to clarify that we have no designated sleep times or built-in rest periods. Our shifts require us to be available and ready to respond to emergencies for the entirety of our 24 or 48-hour shift, whether it's during the day or in the middle of the night. This goes to an example of last night. Many of our northern partners were up to the wee hours of the morning operating on a large incident in a neighboring jurisdiction. The nature of our work is unpredictable. There are days when we may handle back-to-back calls for hours on end responding to fires, medical emergencies, accidents, deaths, and the most tragedies that one could imagine. On quieter days, we may seem like downtime is often used for training, maintaining equipment, or completing administrative tasks. If our staff are seen resting briefly, I can assure you it is not out of neglect. It is a moment to recharge in preparation for the next emergency, which, of course, could come at any moment. Another concern we've heard is about firefighters and EMS employees holding part-time jobs. Many of us work second jobs during our off-duty hours to support our families. These roles never interfere with our primary responsibilities, and our commitment to the department remains steadfast. It is also worth noting that the skills and experiences we gain from these additional jobs often enhance our abilities as emergency responders, allowing us to bring new perspectives and solutions to complex challenges. Regarding salaries, we recognize that this is a sensitive topic. However, it's important to consider what our work entails. Firefighters and EMS personnel are highly trained professionals who respond to life and death situations, many degree-holding positions. We work in hazardous, high-stress environments to protect lives, homes, and businesses of this community. Our compensation reflects the expertise, training, and dedication required for those roles. It's also a matter of ensuring the challenges. Competitive pay is not a luxury. It is a necessity for maintaining the high standards of service that this community expects and deserves. At the heart of this discussion is the value we bring to the community. Every time we respond to a fire, save a life, or prevent a disaster, we reaffirm our commitment to protecting the people and property in this community and in this county. We do this work because we care deeply about our neighbors and take pride in making a difference when it matters most. We understand the need for accountability and transparency, and we welcome discussions about how to improve such. What we ask for is your trust and your support as we continue to serve this community with the dedication that it deserves. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else this morning? Last call. Okay, with that, we'll move on. The next agenda item is FY25 budget adjustments to the Washington County Board of Education's general fund budget. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Pruitt, Chief Operating Officer. Eric Sisler, Executive Director of Finance. This matter this morning, Commissioners, may seem as a bit of a technicality. In November of last year, the Commissioners approved an additional appropriation to the Board of Education for FY25 for a security initiative, as well as to purchase 3 buses. That influx of additional revenue to the Board of Education causes an adjustment to both our revenue and our expense accounts. It's a cross-category adjustment, which also requires us to bring that back to you. So you're sort of secondarily approving the additional revenue you provided to the Board of Education in November.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 5-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next item is second annual presentation by Hagerstown Community College, President and Board of Trustees to the Washington County Commissioners and staff.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. How are you all doing this morning? Members of the Commission, good to be with you. Introduce on my right is our board chair, Ms. Paula Lampton, and on my left is Dr. Heiko Culacerto, who's our Vice President for Administration and Finance at the college. And it is that time of year to come in and do our budget presentation to you all. And so we'll try and go through it pretty quickly. First off, I had told Ms. Gordon earlier in the year, I really appreciate the fact that the county has gone back to the, I guess, requirement that we put goals in our budget requests every year. I think that's a good idea, especially with considering the amount of funds that the county gives to us annually, that, you know, the county know what our goals are in the immediate term and how those goals are tied to our strategic plan as a college. So I want to again, so I submitted some slides for your presentation, for your consideration today. It had the list of goals for this past year. I just wanted to let you know that, you know, we're moving along on those. Some of those are multi-year goals, and but I'm very satisfied with where we are. Some of those goals that we've already completed so far this year and have been successful with that. So there they are. They're up on the screen. Great. If you want to give me time, I'll go over them quickly. If not, I won't. But first off, we're up for our 8-year reaccreditation with Middle States. They're supposed to be here in March. We are on track for that and looking forward to it and not anticipating any problems. Since we are the largest producer of dual credit education under the blueprint with WCPS, the one thing I felt very important that we need to do is to have a standard of accreditation for those dual credit classes so that we make sure that the quality of the class taught in the high school is the same as the quality of the class taught on campus. And so there is an accrediting body for that, the National Alliance of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships, and we are working to seek their accreditation. That's a 2-year process, but we're on schedule and hope to submit an application to them next year. So I think we would, on the track we're on, we'd be the first college in Maryland to get that accreditation, and I'd be very happy if we were. And so I think it's very important if we're going to continue to work with WCPS and the blueprint, and that we make sure that we're doing our part. The next thing is, when I came to HCC and before COVID, nobody wanted to teach online. Now, after COVID, everybody wants to teach online. And so I felt that we needed to make sure that our online courses, again, it's an issue of quality. They had the quality that of a class that's taught on campus. And so there is an organization called Quality Matters, which is actually based out of Maryland, but it is the national standard for online courses. And we have started a 2-year process to have every general education course, which is 95 different courses at the college, to have those online versions of those classes QM certified. We're on track to complete that by start of the fall 26 semester. And by the end of this semester, we will have more courses QM certified than any other college or university in Maryland. And so we're really excited about that. And it's on schedule, and we're going along. 3 years ago, we got a federal grant. It's called a Title III Strengthening Institutions Grant. We have to meet compliance goals with that grant every year, and we have met our year 3 goals already. The one thing that we've kind of had a challenge for that was a goal for this year was we wanted to start doing our own background checks, because, we have to, all of our nursing students, all of our allied health students, they all have to have background checks before they can go into their clinical locations. Now our faculty, the state wants us to have background checks because we got high school students on campus as dual credit students. We felt like we might be able to save a little bit of money if we could do that ourselves. We've been working with the state, and that has just been one headache after another. It depends on who you talk to as to whether we can even do it. And so we're kind of got a roadblock there, and I hope we're going to be able to work that out before the end of the year. If we're not, we're not. We'll just keep on doing what we've been doing. But it would be a lot easier for our employees and for our students if they could just get their background checks done on campus when they register for the classes. So anyway, that's been our one kind of roadblock we've had so far this year. Another area I'm really happy with is our cybersecurity. We've now gone to 2-factor authentication for employees off campus. We're now moving to that with students off campus. If you decide, if you're an employee or a student, doesn't matter, and you want to go on a vacation somewhere outside of the United States, you will not have access to our network. It is closed. The only way you could talk to us is on your cell phone. We've locked it down because, we put network security as a top priority. We safeguard a lot of student information, and I do not want to ever see that, be subject to getting hacked or something like that. Let's go to the next slide if we can. Next, I want to talk to you a little bit about capital projects. The Bowman Family Workforce Training Center should be done in February. It is way behind schedule, and that has been a real challenge for us. But, when it gets done, it's going to be fantastic. And as of January 1st, the college took over all registered apprenticeships, the Bar Construction Institute from the Associated Builders and Contractors. And that's going to make that Workforce Training Center even more important in our community. And I'm really excited about where we are if we could just get it finished. I do have some good news on our Advanced Technology Center. I saw yesterday where I think the Board of Public Works approved the FY 23 and 24, or 24 and 25 appropriations for the Advanced Technology Center. So freeing up those state funds to finish the design. The governor releases his budget tomorrow, and in the capital budget, we've got a request for about $8 million to get that building renovated. I want to thank you all for your support, providing the local match, and I think I'm hopeful that we're on path to get this done. Finally, providing faith-based space. I've noticed a couple of my sister colleges are asking a state funds for wellness centers, and I want to watch and see what they do this next year. and maybe restructure my request with the state to be more along the lines of them in the event that they get it. As you know, we got funding from to do Maryland to ask the Maryland Stadium Authority to do a survey of athletic facilities. And we had a constituent back there talk about a swimming pool. We want to see what kind of athletic facilities we need to position the college for the future in light of all the athletic facilities we have here in the county now. And, you know, kind of what is needed, what role can the college play in the next 25, 30 years, and kind of set a plan for where we go from there. And so that is ongoing. That report should be finished in June. And as soon as it is, I'll be happy to share it with you and come back. Last, this is a long-term project. I expect it will probably be 4 to 5 years out, but we need to work on our administration and student activities building, to renovate it, to add some space to it, given that where our enrollment is. And we are submitting in this next fiscal year for the Phase 1 and Phase 2. I just want to put that on your radar screen. I'm not asking for you to do anything this year, but it's something that we've got to plan for in future years. And so we ought to take a look at that going forward. Next, I'll try and pick up my pace if I can. Enrollment was a little bit of a challenge this year in the high schools. We had some challenges with high school teachers making sure that they were credentialed to teach college level courses. And that was a challenge, especially in English 101 this year. You know, and I think it's not a WCPS problem. It's kind of a national thing. A lot of high school teachers, well, teachers, when they decide to go get a master's degree, they'll go get it in education, and they may not get it in their subject matter discipline. And that poses a challenge, because in college, you want people that have masters and PhDs in their subject matter discipline, but not necessarily in education. And so it makes it a little harder to credential faculty in the high schools to do that. We believe that we've kind of found some workarounds for that this next year, and so I anticipate you're going to see our credit enrollment go back up and return to where it was. So we feel pretty good about that, and I think we'll be back in our student totals for FY25. You know, this upcoming year, I think it is has been challenging, but I think in FY26, you're going to see us back towards the 2024 numbers of around 13,000 total served. So that's kind of where we are on the enrollment data. Our request for next year, I have the governor's budget again comes out tomorrow, and I have every anticipation that I am going to get absolutely hammered. And so I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be a tight year, and even tightening up the belt, I'm going to make a request to you for an increase in operational support of 3%. I asked for 2% last year. Those are, I think, the first two requests in operational support in 5 years, and I think we're going to need some help this year. We had this past year the accrediting body for the paramedic program come in, and you know that is a partnership program with Washington County, and Director Hayes and I, we have a great relationship. It's a good program. We both do our part, and we make it work, and it's effective, and a lot more effective than it was when we were both kind of doing our own thing. You know, a partnership can always be stronger than two individuals. When the accrediting body came in, they said that you can maintain your accreditation. Their findings were you need to hire 2 people. You need to hire a medical director, and you need to hire a clinical coordinator. And so Chief Hayes and I, we've talked, and I would like to advocate in his budget. He is going to look at getting the medical director, I think, or make that request to you, and I'd like to advocate for that. I signed the job posting for the clinical coordinator yesterday, so we're going to take care of that. And that will help us maintain our national accreditation for paramedics. And so that's very important. Just want to say thank you and continue the capital support that you've given, you know, in the 10-year plan, and just like to ask that you continue that. I hope you can. I also have almost 100% confidence that the funding that the state gave us for deferred maintenance will be slashed to zero tomorrow when that comes out in the governor's budget. And, you know, in conversations with you all during the year, sometimes you say, well, if there's anything we could do for you, let us know. Well, I sent a list in this year of just one-time funding of maybe some deferred maintenance projects, some things we've got to get done. It's a list of small things. There is one, probably the most expensive thing on there is renovate our dental assisting lab and to provide for some more space in that lab. And you have to cut some holes in the floor and some things like that and run some conduit and stuff. But it is, we really want to continue to focus on dental assisting as well as, you know, with our expanded dental hygiene. Those continue to be very popular programs. So I did send in a deferred maintenance list for you. And then lastly, I'll say, you know, again, for the ASA renovation that's down the road, you all start taking a look at that and you know, thinking about it. If that is all I have, subject to your questions.
Questions?
I want to thank you all and appreciate all that you do for Washington County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay, next item is the Administrative Office of the Court Security Funding, approval to accept grant award. Good morning.
Good morning.
Kristen Grissnickel, Court Administrator, Circuit Court.
Richard Lesh, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management. We are here today to request a motion to approve the acceptance of funds in the amount of $74,657.94. This grant program will provide funds from the Maryland Administrative Office of the Courts to Washington County Circuit Court for multiple security projects, including additional access control panel, an alarm panel notification upgrade, updated A-phones, visual intercom systems, and installation of security blast film. The Office of Grant Management has reviewed the grant funding guidelines. There is no unusual conditions or requirements attached to the acceptance of the grant.
Okay. Second. Motion is second to approve as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is sole source procurement, PUR 1723, ESRI Cloud Model of Geographic Information Software Enterprise License Agreement. A mouthful.
That's a lot. Randy Kentner, Director in Purchasing.
Josh O'Neill, Chief Technical Officer, Information Systems.
The first recommendation I have for you this morning is the sole source procurement, PUR 1723, ESRI Cloud Model of Geographic Information Software Enterprise Licensing Agreement. Move to authorize by resolution a sole source procurement of an enterprise license agreement for the use by the Washington County Department of Information Technologies. This is the third and final year of this contract. It did begin January 4th. I did bring this in. We needed 4 out of 5 commissioners' votes, so I'm bringing it back today. It does end January 3rd of 2026. This this annual purchases for the amount of $113,300 from Environmental Systems Research Institute out of Redland, California. The ESRI is a software that drives all GIS-related operations for all county departments. It provides mapping and planning data essential to many aspects of public works. It serves the citizen and interagency request. The Department of Information Technologies wishes to apply Sections 1-106.2A1 and 2 of the Code of Local Public Laws of Washington County to this procurement. This section states that a sole source procurement is authorized and permissible when only one source exists, and this is the case in this procurement. The request requires the approval of 4 out of 5 commissioners in order to proceed. Funding in the amount of $1,279,398.45 is available for this expenditure.
Discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, 5-0. Next item is intergovernmental cooperative purchase 24-0175 for a 2025 Ford F-550 regular cab 4x4 chassis truck.
Randy Kentner, Director in Purchasing.
Danny Hickson, Deputy Director of Public Works.
The last recommendation I have for you this morning is the intergovernmental cooperative purchase, INTG 24-0175, for one 2025 Ford F-550 regular cab chassis truck. Move to authorize by resolution for the Department of Public Works, Buildings, Grounds, and Facilities to purchase one new 2025 Ford F-50 regular cab chassis truck from Apple Ford out of Columbia, Maryland, for the amount of $89,175.30, and to utilize another jurisdiction's contract, which was awarded by Baltimore County to Apple Ford. The Department of Public Works is requesting this purchase of this vehicle to replace a vehicle that exceeds the county's vehicle and equipment types and usage guidelines. The existing stake body truck is a 1990 Chevy 3500 with 90,590 miles on it. The cost of the repairs for this truck is growing because it's harder to find the parts for it. This vehicle is out of service for long periods of times, and it prevents certain work from within the county facilities and parks departments. The county did initiate this guidelines in 2001. The replacement guideline says that any vehicle less than 19,500 pounds is recommended for replacement at a 10-year economic life. The Code of Public Laws of Washington County provides that the Board of County Commissioners may enter into another contract awarded by another government entity as long as we abide by the same terms, conditions, and pricing, and we are doing so by using this contract. The county will benefit with a direct cost savings because of the economies of scale. The contract is leveraged. Funding is available in the department's CIP project in the amount of $95,580.
$550 truck. I see 350s, I know 250s, but not familiar with a 550.
It's actually a 1.5 ton capacity truck.
Okay. Is it double wheel rear?
Yes, dual wheel rear.
Two wheel rear, okay.
What's the plans for the 1990 Chevrolet? Are we selling that?
It'll go on Gov Deals.
Okay, so it will be, and the only reason I ask, I just want to make sure we don't move that to another department, and in 2 years, that department asks us, hey, we got this vehicle out of compliance, let's replace it. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase along with placing the 1990 on govdeals.com.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye? Thank you. 5-0. Next item is 2025 Senator Amos funding distribution.
Morning, Commissioners. David Hayes, Director of Emergency Services. Commissioners, we're here today to present to you a motion to accept the recommendations of the Director of Emergency Services, authorizing the Division of Emergency Services to make notification of the grant award from FY 2025 Senator William H. Amos Fire Rescue and Ambulance Fund subsidy as outlined in the attached document. Total fiscal year funding for 2025 received by the county is $337,358. The state of Maryland distributes an annual payment to each county for support of local fire and rescue operations. The county in turn makes notification of the funding to the eligible volunteer fire and rescue corporations. Financial accountability and reporting are handled within the Division of Emergency Services and the Division of Budget and Finance, with county fiscal filing a financial report with the state on an annual basis. Senator William H. Amos Fire Rescue and Ambulance Fund is authorized within the Public Safety Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland. The Maryland Emergency Management Agency is the responsible agency for administering the program. The fiscal impact loss of funding will result in the reduction of capital equipment funding and expenditures that are available to the independent fire and EMS companies. We have concurrences from myself, the Chief Financial Officer, and generally the breakdown, which is standard for the 10 years that I've been here, is the City of Hagerstown receives the allocations for the 6 city volunteer companies for a total of $77,858. And then each of the volunteer fire and EMS companies outside the city get a single allocation of $12,975. We do not withhold the administrative allowance that typically is allowable to the county, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 or $2,000. We distribute the entire amount.
Motion to approve.
Second, just a question if I can. Dave, is the amount pretty consistent year over year? I kind of thought in years past we've done 14,000.
It's gotten up, it's never gotten to 14 that I can recall, at least not sitting here this moment, but it's never varied any more than 1,000 or two up or down. Most of the years I've been here, it's been in the 12,500 to 13,000.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Next item is third amendment to lease.
Commissioners, Mark Bradshaw, Director of Environmental Management.
Rosalinda Pasquale, Deputy County Attorney.
We're here today requesting the approval of the third amendment to the lease. Valacor currently leases the Conakajig Industrial Pretreatment Facility and through a non-exclusive easement the associated rail siding from the county. Due to regulatory requirements, Valacor will have to make substantial capital improvements to the rail siding to continue to utilize it as part of their operation. They seek approval to perform such improvements as required by the lease. Their goal, as a result of funding these necessary improvements, is to have greater interest in the rail siding area that they are investing in. Per the lease, Valacor can purchase the pretreatment property after the 21st anniversary of the commencement date and before the 22nd anniversary of the commencement date. Before Valacor commits to making capital improvements at the rail siding, they wish to clarify that the rail siding property will be included as a permanent exclusive easement if they exercise the option to purchase the pretreatment property. The third amendment to the lease clarifies that the rail siding will be included if Valacor exercises their option to purchase the property, with the only substantial exception to the permanent exclusive nature of the rail siding area easement being if the pretreatment property ceases to operate as a pretreatment facility. I have worked with Rosie and Valacor on developing an agreement that County Attorney's Office feels is good. Any questions?
Okay, we have a discussion or a motion?
I have a question if I can. So, Mark, Valcor's on track to purchase the property. Is that what we're saying? Because their 21st year is coming up, so they'll be making a purchase on the 22nd anniversary of the lease. Am I reading that correctly?
It's between, it has to be after the 21st, but before the 22nd, yes.
Okay. And if they purchase the property, is there anything in the deed, and I realize several papers are attached here, and admittedly I didn't read all 20-some pages, but is there anything in the deed that's an important function for our wastewater treatment facility at Conakajig, and leachate, how we dispose of that goes through a Valcor, I believe. If they cease to operate, does the property revert back to the county, or just so we can ensure the operations of that facility once it goes into private hands?
I would have to re-review the current lease as we have it. I'm not sure if there's anything built in there if it ceases to exist as a pretreatment facility. I ensured in the amendment, the draft third amendment to the lease, to account for that because the rail siding area is owned by the county and will not be owned by them. They will just have an exclusive easement over the property. And so I didn't want to completely lose control, at least on the one part of the premises that we will continue to own. So the CIPF property itself, I cannot answer right now without going back and double checking what would happen in that situation.
Okay. Do we have the luxury of time to hold off a week or two? And is that a concern of other commissioners? If that business were to
That's a pretty
cease
important
operations,
question. I'd
what do
want
we
an
do?
answer to it, yeah.
But we control the rail, no matter what happens.
The rail siding?
Yes.
Yes.
So we can bring this back on the 28th, once we have that answer.
We have time to do that? I think that's important.
Yeah, I think it's a very important question to resolve.
Rosie, you don't have anyone from Valacor here today, do you, that would be willing at this time to weigh in, maybe answer Commissioner Kiefer's question today?
Yeah, Daryl and John?
Okay.
Hi, I'm John Druga with Valacor. I don't know if I have an exact answer for that. The reason that language was put in the draft was at the county's request. The county wanted that rail siding to revert back, but it's a good question on the main property. I can't imagine that we would cease operations there. And certainly if we were the owners and something would change, like companies are sold all the time. So I'm sure it's a viable enough business that I don't foresee that circumstance ever come into fruition.
Yeah. And my only concern, no disrespect at all to your company, you know, in the 1950s, Sears, nobody ever would have thought, you know, Sears would suffer what they had after the internet came through, and people shop differently now.
I think the bigger concern was if, and it's really nuts, if I reread the lease, the draft of the amendment, it's more that if we are in non-compliance, significant non-compliance for some period of time, then it would revert back.
Yes, there was, at least from my experience, there wasn't anticipation that they would just stop existing for the sake to stop existing. It was more that if their permits were pulled and they could not operate, we still had an out.
Well, I appreciate, just for my vote, my peace of mind, I would like just some assurances that, you know, the county has an option if for some reason you were to no longer operate. Maybe environmental standards in Maryland a couple years down the road are just more than what any company can you know, comply with. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, Wayne, I'd want better clarification too. I mean, it's one of them things where what's collateral damage if we don't know what's in the lease and we can't explain it very well? As someone, everybody doesn't seem to quite understand it. I'd want it spelled out a little simpler to us and maybe next meeting and see what we come up with.
I probably missed it, but how long have you been leasing the property there?
Since 2006, it originally was Spirit, and then Valacor bought Spirit out, so it's been under private operation since 2006.
Yeah, so, but this says between the 21st and 22nd year, one can make a purchase, right?
Yes.
So when did the clock start ticking for Valacor?
2006.
But you weren't owners in 2006.
But when they bought Spirit out, the lease automatically went to them.
That was one of our lease amendments,
So-
adjusted to the assignment.
So sometime after, starting a year from now or 2 years from now, they can move to purchase,
I believe it's 2027, they can move
to purchase. And what's the standard for the purchase at that point in time? Is that current market rates, or is it already?
It's established in the actual original lease agreement, what the purchase price would be.
Do you have that?
I think it's around 340 off the top of my head, 380.
So a price that was set 20 years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll bring this back for additional clarification then on the 28th. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Last item under open session is Police Accountability Trial Board Oath Standing Agreement.
Yes, Rosalinda Pasquale, Deputy County Attorney. I'm here before you in regards to a draft agreement with Judge Butanis in order to oversee trial boards. When the state passed the Police Accountability Act, adopted the law into the public safety article. It also mandates that each law enforcement agency establish a trial board. The trial boards shall be chaired by either a retired judge or an administrative law judge. We currently have a standing agreement with the Office of Administrative Hearings in order to utilize their services if we were to need a judge. We were currently presented with a retired judge who would allow us to utilize his services. The standing OAH agreement is not exclusive, so we can establish an agreement with another judge. In this case, the judge has to chair the trial board. We have 2 pending trial boards coming up scheduled for the same day to minimize costs. Under this proposed agreement with Judge Butanis, it would be on an as-needed basis, so we would pay him when we needed his services. Taking into account the 2 pending hearings, it would utilizing his services and costs under this agreement would save us money in comparison to utilizing the standing OAH agreement.
Funding from this comes from what source?
We pay it out.
It's a budget line item
budget.
for
We do have
county
a budget
attorney's
line
office.
item, yeah,
Yes.
for the attorney's office.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 5-0. Thank you. Looking for a motion to go into closed session for the following reasons outlined in more detail in the agenda cover sheet. To consider acquisition of real property, discussion of confidential personnel matters, and to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice.
Motion to go in closed session.
Motion second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Let's take a 5-minute recess.